she had a restaurant, she was the lawyer, she could handle anything. And this one was loose. She was over sexually active, and this is the kind of image that they showed. It was a all-black African American TV show, and what I found, I used to be hooked on it, but after watching it and realizing that those women is the only type of images that you come across in mainstream media. So this evening we are going to see why those images are we are bombarded with those kind of images and what men and women have done to counteract this. Right, so in order to do all this, of course I'm from SOAS, and I'm French, so we are going to talk about what symbolic violence is all about. Well, this is Pierre Bourdieu, who's done a fantastic work in sociology, and he's talked about symbolic violence. What he explains is that this violence is where you cannot fit into those four capitals. He says that there's an economic capital, a social capital, a cultural capital, and a symbolical capital. The economic one is basic. Basically, if you have money, you have power. We live in a capitalistic society, and the more things you buy, the more power you will have. So if you buy a lot of things, you will have the symbols of your power. So you'll be able to buy Louboutin, for instance. You'll be able to buy a big car. So this is the symbol of your power. If you have those symbols and you have the money, you have the symbols, you also belong to a certain class. And this gives you distinction. You are from, for instance, this is the Burlington Club, with all, you could recognize the Mayor of London and David Cameron there. So people, they'll go to certain school, do certain activities, like go to the Ascot, and be able to parade with the Louboutin. So it's a circle, really. It's a circle, but you have money, you have money, you belong to a certain class, you do the certain thing, and you have a certain, you consume a certain way, and this gives you distinction, and you have power, and that's what it's calling those four capitals. And the violence behind this is that it's not anyone, it's not open to anyone, even though it looks like you could make money. But a fairly good example of this is Lady Sarah Forbes. Basically, this lady was part of Queen Victoria's entourage. She's from Benin. She was given to her as a gift, and Queen Victoria decided to have her as a goddaughter, and she raised her. She went to the best schools. She was in school back in Benin, but she came to Nigeria, but she came back. So she belonged to the aristocracy, but even in spite of all that, you can see that she has the symbolic capital, because she's very well dressed. She was moving in very high social class. She belonged to the aristocracy. Well, actually, she was made. Well, people could believe that she belonged to the aristocracy, but she did not, because where are the children? Where is the Duchess of Bonita Davis? That was one off. She didn't belong to it. She was just like, and this is the violence, because even though she went through all of that, she still didn't fit to that clique. So this is what I call the violence, because how is it violence and why is it symbolical? Because it's not physical, obviously, but they make you believe in the righteousness of the status quo. So okay, this is it. She's an African woman. She cannot. Well, she can go to. Well, she may be accepted into our circle, but she will not belong to it, because she is who she is, and I think that she died young. Unfortunately, we don't have her thought about it, but it is a bit sad to see that this lady has been paraded and then forgotten, and just for nothing. So a second person I'd like to help me explain what I have to tell you this evening is the Hooks. Well, it should be a smaller B, but it's kept on doing the capital. So Bell Hooks talks about white supremacist, patriarchal, and capitalistic values. So this is what I've determined that using this dynamic, we could see that in this society, in order to be successful, you have to comply to at least one of those three main areas. So you have white supremacists. It doesn't have anything to do with color, really. It's about white supremacy is about the concept of whiteness. So whatever is done to reinforce the idea that the European culture, the European ways, the European system is better, and this is how, well, it is the part of the symbolic violence that Bourdieu mentioned. But unlike Bourdieu, she's introducing the concept of patriarchy, because, well, women are not welcome in those kind of society. If you're a man, for instance, you will earn more money than a woman. And this has been proved even today. Feminists are fighting for it, are fighting against it. But it is a fact. You will earn less money simply because you're a woman. And then the money is the core of everything. Like, you have to make money. The more money you have, the better you will be seen in that society. So you're welcome to read more about her. But I've decided to use Bourdieu, to use her to break it down a little bit more. And then the last person that I'm going to use is Dr. Marimba Ani. And she had a radical stand, and she talked about the Asili. The Asili is what she called the essence of a culture, of a civilization. So she's basically stating that the European civilization, the European way, is about domination. So whatever they will do is to dominate. So whenever you look at a situation, you have to ask the question, how does that help them to dominate us? And she gave that a few tools to dismantle and critically think about. Tonight we are going to talk about mainstream media. So these are the three people that I'm trying to use, and that is what I'm going to talk about. I'm talking about images. So we are going to go back until the days of slavery, when you had like black women. So you had either the rebel. So I'm not going to the rebel woman. This woman that you see has been punished because she's run away. So this is the rebel, and this is the compliant. If any of you are from the Caribbean? Yeah, probably. This is what we call, I'm from Martinique, and this is a very nice picture that I found of what we call a matador. A matador is a woman that used to live next to port. She was a prostitute, basically, and she was priding herself of making the most money out of the white sailors that were coming around. So the matador. So you have that. The matador is usually a lighter skinned girl, like a mulatto, and she will be having sex for favors or for money or whatever reason. And nowadays, so I have linked the idea of the rebel to this. So you have an angry woman that looks like, supposed to be looking like Angela Davis, but let's see, like, we try something. So you have the rebel, the angry woman. So whenever you have your afro, your hair like this, when some people will look at you and say, "Oh, are you an activist or something?" Or, well, that's people have asked me the question a few times. Well, this is my natural hair. I just wear them like that because that's how it is. And people always seem to see it as a political stance, like, "Oh, you must be like defending a cause. You cannot be normal with your natural hair. You are on a mission to do something." And then I'm talking about. Well, this is quite offensive. It's a friend of mine who sent it to me. In Martinique, we have a regatta that we call the Tour de Yole, and a few years ago it was all about the boats, but nowadays it's become very sexualized. It's all about attracting tourism. So we have these kind of ladies, still the light-skinned girl, and she's advertising a brand of rum. It's called Rum Clément. So she has it on her bum, and apparently they have like a whole section of wet white bikinis, and they're all happy about that. So this is the two people I want to talk about. I want to talk about the Sketel, That's how we would call them in the Caribbean. I'm not too sure about other names here, but this is the Skettle, the Jezebel, and then you have the angry one who's always on something and advocating something. So why those pictures are always, why are we always bombarded with those kind of pictures of how we are reflecting about what is normal, what is it to be a normal woman without being angry, without being a skettle? Can't we just be in the middle? So we are going to see how those well, I argue that those images are promoted by mainstream media for a reason, and I'm going to show you how it's been affecting women. So the first person that we're going to listen to is Tony Warner, that you just seen. He had agreed to do a short video. So I'm not sure if that I should turn off the lights. No, it should be fine. So listen to what Tony has to say, how those images are affecting children.
And it was full. First time it was full. And what came out of that was that there was a desperate need for information as to the history of what is beautiful, who is beautiful, and how the image of beauty is communicated in the media. And there was a need for regular kind of workshops on that basis. We found that a lot of people had picked up some very European ideas as to what is or what was beautiful. And that come via books, magazines, fairy stories, TV adverts, and movies.